Hello everyone and welcome to today's edition of the Cheap Meal presented by Deep Fried Draft. My name is Brian Bosarge. We had our Week 6 review yesterday. On to Week 7 of college football. We've got a lot of news to get to. A lot of injuries on the college football front to talk about. For draft-related prospects, we've got a trade in the NFL to talk about. And we're going to preview Week 7's games that we're going to watch. 10 of them. 10 of them in all that I'm going to preview for you right now. But let's first get to the news in college football. Southern Cal senior offensive guard Vianney Talamalvo, currently our number 10 rated offensive guard, tore his pectoral muscle. He'll be out for the season. He should be able to hopefully rehab in time to get for the through the draft process at the end. Central Michigan senior tight end Tyler Conklin. We talked earlier that he was injured before the season started, but he's back now, and he came back in a big way last week with 10 catches for 136 and 2 touchdowns. So I'm definitely ready to see him on the football field. He's one of the best tight end, one of the best probably early day 3 tight end prospects for this upcoming draft. Another MAC player to talk about is Toledo senior wide receiver Cody Thompson. I was watching the game in which he got hurt. He broke his leg. He's out for the season. This is definitely probably going to hurt definitely impact his draft status as we go forward. He was a sleeper player, probably a 5th, 6th round pick upcoming. Miami junior running back Mark Walton, ankle injury. He's out for the year. He's a junior, so I don't know if this will affect him coming out early or not, but he was definitely a dual threat running back, run and receiving, and a player that was going to pick up steam probably as the process went forward. And college football head coaching news, Oregon State head coach Gary Anderson. He's going to part ways. No buyout. He just said, I don't need the $13 million that you guys would have to pay me. I'm done. On his way out, some text messages got leaked to the Oregonian. I believe it was the Oregonian paper there, and where he basically trashed his assistant coaches on his way out the door. So just a messy situation there for Oregon State. Got one trade to talk about in the NFL. The Saints have traded running back Adrian Peterson to the Arizona Cardinals, who in desperate need of running back help. The Saints get a conditional 2018 6th round pick. Currently the conditions are unknown for this. For those new to the program, I have not exactly been wowed or have held my tongue when talking about the Saints personnel decisions. When they made this signing of Adrian Peterson back in March, I just thought it was ridiculous. I mean, Peterson did fit their offense and what they try to do on the offensive side of the field. Plus, they already had a back just like him with Mark Ingram. So, I mean, the signing just struck me as, hey, let's spend money to spend money. But in this case, at least now they can get out of whatever money's left on the deal, and they get a little something back for him. So at least congrats for realizing this was dumb, and you can get out of it. Peterson will have a chance to succeed the rest of the year for Arizona. He fits them a little bit better than what he does in New Orleans. All right, let's preview. Let's get on to the preview now in 10 games, like I said, and it starts tonight in about 45 minutes from the time I'm filming this on ESPN2. It'll be 7 p.m. tonight. South Alabama is at Troy. Battle in the Sun Belt Conference for South Alabama. Their only real prospect that I have to watch is senior safety Jeremy Reeves. For Troy, we're going to see they have a receiver, number 80. He's a junior to keep an eye on. DeAndre Douglas, 6'1", 204. But we also have number 12, senior quarterback Brandon Silvers. I got a look at them earlier. I watched a replay of a game between them and New Mexico State. Silvers is a guy who could rise up into a draftable grade by the end of the process here. 6'3", 214. He's kind of local to the Mobile area. Played at Gulf Shores High School. Ironically, where I will be this weekend. I'll be in Gulf Shores doing a little mini vacation with the family this weekend. But yeah, Gulf Shores home to Brandon Silvers, the quarterback for Troy. On Friday, Clemson visits the Carrier Dome and plays Syracuse, 6 p.m. on ESPN. Is this the upset alert? Maybe. Little Clemson quarterback Kelly Bryant's a little banged up. Syracuse's offense under head coach Dino Babers starting to click, starting to put up the numbers. But they will have their work cut out for them with Clemson's front four on defense, which is ridiculously good. But for Clemson, our main focus in this game will be on their junior offensive tackle, Mitch Hyatt, 6'5", 295-pound junior, number 75. For Syracuse, they have a junior quarterback, number 2, Eric Dungy, 6'3", 207. Dungy's got a live arm, so I'm curious to get a good look of him against Clemson. So now, let's move on to Saturday at 11 a.m. Well, it'll be South Carolina at Tennessee on ESPN. Is this Butch Jones' last stand? Rumor on the talk radio circuit is if they lose to South Carolina, he's canned after the game. But we'll see. For South Carolina, I've talked to him last week to NDT Scouting's Joe Marino, and I told him look out for this guy. He's a potential nickel corner, can play safety. He's a return man. Rashad Fenton, junior corner, number 16. He's 5'10", 184, has been locking down receivers this season. For Tennessee, we want to get a look at their junior running back, number 4, John Kelly. He's burst onto the scene this year, 5'9", 205. And tight end has given South Carolina trouble this season and in the past. So we'll see Tennessee senior tight end, number 82, Ethan Wolf. He's a 6'6", 258-pound player for the Volunteers. Also at 11 a.m. on Fox Sports 1, it'll be TCU at Kansas State. For our first look at Kansas State this season. But we're gonna focus on a couple of offensive line prospects for TCU. Their senior center is number 51, Austin Schlottman, 6'6", 300. Kansas State, we're projecting him to play center, but he plays right tackle currently for the Wildcats. Kansas State, number 71, junior, Dalton Risner. He's 6'4", 300. Also at 11 a.m. on ESPNU, what I'm anticipating to be a shootout. Texas Tech at West Virginia. It's our first look at the Red Raiders this year. And their senior wide receiver, number 11, Derek Willis. He's 6'4", 210. And for West Virginia, we're going to see Kaiser White, their senior safety, number 8, 6'2", 218. He's the brother of Chicago Bears oft-injured wide receiver and former Mountaineer Kevin White. 2 p.m. on ESPN Extra, if you have that channel available, or channels available. It's basically, if you don't know what ESPN Extra is, it's where they take like 8 to 10 games a week that would normally just be on the Watch ESPN app or ESPN3, and they make them available over the top, I guess you'd say. But we're going to see Northern Iowa at South Dakota State. Northern Iowa currently do not have any prospects in mind, but they always have 1 or 2 guys every year that are worth checking out. So we'll see if anybody jumps out on the tape. For South Dakota State, it's another chance to get a look at 2 guys I both consider to be I consider them to be second round prospects, top 64 prospects, if you will. Their senior wide receiver, number 19, Jake Weineke, and their senior tight end, number 86, Dallas Goddard. Those 2 guys can play on my team any day. So we'll get another look at those guys. 2:30 regionalized on the Fox Sports Net. Virginia at North Carolina. For Virginia, we're going to get a look at a couple of defensive players for the Cavaliers. Number 21, junior corner, Juan Thornhill, 6'2", 200. I found something interesting when I was doing a little research before this. Thornhill is actually listed as a reserve linebacker on their 2-deep depth chart. That is crazy to me. I don't know if it was a typo from last week or what, but it was there. Also, I've heard some buzz on their senior defensive lineman, number 9, Andrew Brown. He's a 6'4", 285-pound player. Anxious to get a good look at him. For North Carolina, I want to bring up a name of number 97, junior defensive lineman Jalen Dalton. Not many people I've heard talking about this guy, and maybe he's not much of a prospect. 6'6", 295. But normally when I'm watching the games that I talk about here on the previews and reviews, I've got my iPad going, and I usually have a game on there, we'll call it background noise, I guess, if you will, of a game that I'm not cutting. Just so if I look over in between plays, catch a glance of what's going on. When they played Louisville earlier this year, Lamar Jackson broke off on a long run. And I saw Jalen Dalton, 6'6", 295 guy, run between 50 and 60 yards downfield and make a tackle on Lamar Jackson inside the 10-yard line. That kind of hustle, that gets you on the list to watch for me. So I want to make everybody aware of Jalen Dalton if you haven't already heard of him. At 6 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, East Carolina at UCF. I expect a rise into at least late round, mid to late round draft for East Carolina senior wide receiver, number 85, Davin Grayson. He's a 6'2", 187-pound player, very productive. For UCF, we want to get a look at their senior defensive lineman, 6'3", 11, Jamias Pittman, number 5. Arkansas at Alabama, 6:15 on ESPN. I anticipate this game to be just complete destruction. But the whole purpose of watching this game is basically one matchup and one matchup only. I want to see Arkansas center Frank Ragnow against Alabama's defensive line. 7 p.m. on 11 Sports. Southern Utah is at Weber State. Currently don't have any players to watch for Southern Utah. But for Weber State, I want to make everybody aware of their senior tight end, number 87, Andrew Vollert. He's a 6'5", 245-pound player. He mostly lines up, I say mostly, it's 50-50, but he lines up in the slot a lot, but he'll also line up in line. But I think Vollert is the best FCS tight end behind Dallas Goedert of South Dakota State. I think he's the number 2 FCS tight end. He's not a top 100 prospect. He's probably in the 5th or 6th round range, but Vollert can play in the NFL. 9:45 on ESPN. Washington is at Arizona State. It's our first look at the Sun Devils this year, and they're running senior running back number 9, Kalen Ballage, 6'2", 222. He's the draft Twitter darling, and we're going to get another look at him, our first look at him this season. For Washington, I want to look at their 2 junior defensive linemen, number 50, Vita Vea, who I wrote up in the offseason. He's 6'5", 332, and number 99, Greg Gaines, 6'2", 318. That's going to do it. As always, follow me on Twitter at Deep Fried Draft. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/deepfrieddraft. Subscribe to these videos on YouTube, and download the Bumpers app in the App Store to hear our weekly reviews. Until next time, thanks for watching.